Hey, how's it going, guys? MrBossFTW $1 million. That's right. We're doing a Megalodon shark card giveaway. So I will have that going on right now on my Twitter account. I'm going to be selecting the winner one day before the DLC, so on Monday. So one lucky person will be walking away with $8 million, which certainly should help you jumpstart your funding of all the new items that are going to be in this update, because there is absolutely a ton of them in this DLC. So check that out. Link is in the description, and it's going on my Twitter account. Now, let's get on to what Rockstar has confirmed with this update so far. So prior to today, before the trailer, we knew there was going to be legendary motorsports vehicles, weaponized vehicles, a new property or properties, and then the Festive surprise Christmas stuff, which is going to be the DLC that's built into this. So that's four pretty big things right there. So I already considered this to be going to be one of the most expensive updates ever. And then we ended up getting the trailer, which dropped a ton of information. Now, before we move on any further, the trailer that was showed off today, number one, it was only like 50 seconds long. Number two, I am 100% confident that this did not show off all of the content in this update. I'm sure that there's going to be more that will be added, but this gives us the best idea of ultimately how much money you're going to end up needing here. So let's start with probably what you're going to spend the biggest sum of your money on, and that is going to be the new vehicles. So I counted 13 new vehicles in the trailer, but it also wouldn't shock me if there was only 11 or 12, because some of the vehicles that I included as ones you could purchase would be the submarine that we saw. So for example, if there's no need to purchase that submarine, then that's obviously going to drop the price. However, if you can purchase that submarine to use in free mode, that's going to increase the price. So keep that in mind. There is going to be a little bit of a deviation here in what the ultimate final price could be. But I ended up picking out 13 vehicles. We had the Akula, which is the Comanche. We had the Empante Deluxo, which is the DeLorean DMC-12. We had that V-22 Osprey helicopter. We had the missile barrage launcher that Lester was so obsessed about. The 6x6 police riot car. The Vulcan bomber. That off-road military trophy truck. The underwater Ardent Custom or Ardent Pro, whatever it's going to be called, sort of submarine. We had the submarine itself. The super futuristic tank that we saw that has like a railgun attached to it, which is pretty crazy. We saw the jetpack, which who knows if that's going to cost a ton of money in free mode. That might cost like $10 million in free mode. Who really knows? And then that kind of retro sports classic Ferrari 308, and then another aircraft that was to the left of Lester's shoulder. So that right there are all the vehicles. And what's pretty interesting so far is I have not seen one normal civilian vehicle. So even like the one civilian vehicle that you think was pretty normal, the Deluxo, ended up having the ability to fly and have his missiles coming out of the front of it. So that's not even a normal vehicle. So far, I haven't seen one vehicle that you could just pass on the street and not assume is dangerous at all. So because of that, I'm going to assume that most of these vehicles will likely appear on the Warstock Cash and Carry site. And because of that, they're likely going to be pretty expensive. I mean, if we just take a look back at some of the previous vehicles that were released on Warstock Cash and Carry from Smuggler's Run, it was $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, and all of these had a trade price too. So that's a completely separate topic right there, and I eventually believe that these vehicles we just saw will be getting their own like Doomsday Heist completed price. So what I think is going to happen is two scenarios. Number one, you won't be able to buy the vehicles in free mode until you do the heist mission. Or number two, you'll be able to buy the vehicles instantly, or you can do the heist missions and you can get them at a like 15 or 25% discounted price. Just like what Rockstar has done with some of the gun running vehicles, and just like what Rockstar did with some of these Smugglers Run vehicles too. So regardless of that, I'm still going to assume that each vehicle is going to be between $2 million and $4 million. So again, I understand some vehicles will probably be a little bit cheaper than that if they're civilian cars. Some vehicles will probably be more expensive than that, just like we saw with the Bambushka going to be more expensive in Smugglers Run. We saw the Laser. So if we take $2 million times 13, that gets us to 26 million just on vehicles alone. And if we take 13 vehicles times 4, that gives us 52 million on vehicles alone. Now, once again, there's not a chance that all of them will be that high, but there is a strong possibility. And keep in mind, that's not even all the vehicles we've seen so far. Now, on top of that, I'd say you'd spend roughly anywhere from, on the low end, 5 to then $10 million on upgrading these vehicles, applying customization, adding various weapons and whatnot to the vehicles. Just like with the Smuggler's Run aircrafts and other weaponized vehicles, they likely won't come attached with all the crazy cool weapons that you saw in the trailer. You're likely going to have to apply those yourself, which is going to require extra money coming out of your wallet. So that right there pretty much covers all the vehicles that we've seen in the trailer so far. Again, there is a chance that there could be more. Let's move on to the property. So Rockstar stated there's going to be a new property on the Maze Bank foreclosure site. And right now in the trailer, I didn't really see any properties aside from maybe like a command center that you could have, which I think was located in the IAA building. So I'm going to assume that there's going to be like 3 or 4 properties that you can buy. And in order to start the heist missions, you have to buy the property. That's the only thing I could think of here. I don't think Rockstar is going to let us start these out of our, high-end apartments like we did in the normal heist update. I think we're going to have a little bit more of a sophisticated command center. So I'm going to assume that command center is just going to be like the office prices, anywhere from $2 to $4 million. Now, speaking of those heist missions, if you're unfamiliar with the way they work, yes, there is a big payout at the end. And it's kind of tough to predict that payout, and it's also kind of tough to predict the setup. But from what we've seen in the trailer, there look to be at least 10 different setup missions at a minimum. There might even be 13, depending on the amount of vehicles. And each one of those setups cost money, anywhere from $100,000 to a little bit more than that. So I'm going to assume it's going to be $1 million for the setups. And your payout at the end might be something massive, like $3 or $4 or $5 million, which would be great. But before you can get to that money, you're going to need to do the setup. So we're going to add $1 million onto that. Now, aside from the vehicles, the property, the heist setups, there were a couple of other things I saw, including new Mark II weapons. So that's obviously going to cost you money to end up upgrading those. And I wonder if they'll also be done at the MOC, or if they'll be done at some sort of other facility. But I saw at least 5 new Mark II style weapons. So it looks like Rockstar is bringing that back with gun running. Speaking of something that could be brought back from gun running, I just thought about this. Research. So research is something you had to do with the gun running update to unlock a fair number of items like accessories, attachments, vehicle upgrades, and each one of those was $225,000 if you didn't do it, if you didn't like wait out the time. So I'm going to add like another $2 to $3 million worth of research, and it could easily be more than that. 2 or 3 million is being kind of generous if you're like letting some of the time run out, you're buying some of them. So I'm going to say $2 to $3 million for more research. Now, there didn't seem to be a ton of new clothing and accessories in this update, but I did see more body armor. I saw more masks. So it looks like there is going to be a handful of occasional new clothing items that we're going to be able to buy and put on our characters. So that's actually pretty cool. Some of the night vision goggle helmets and some of the jetpack suits, those are all pretty epic as well. So I think we're going to be able to get a little bit of variety in the clothing. It's obviously not going to be the focus of the update, but I still think it'll be enough to be able to accessorize and upgrade our characters. And last but not least, I want to talk about everything that was not shown. Now, what we know that wasn't shown that's confirmed is the Festive Surprise update. So I can almost bet you that during the Festive Surprise update, there's going to be at least 1, potentially 2 vehicles that are released. We obviously didn't see them in that trailer, as there was nothing that screamed Festive Surprise there. But who knows what else they could buy? Rockstar could make clothing purchasable. They could make accessories purchasable, some sort of weapon or anything like that, new masks and stuff. So there's going to be some Festive Surprise content that I'm going to say could easily be $5 million just because of the vehicles. And then there's everything else that wasn't shown in the trailer. So that's going to be really, really hard to predict, obviously, because we don't know how much Rockstar didn't end up showing off. But let's go ahead and look at our final calculations right now. So on the low end, I've got this update costing $41 million. Now, once again, that is on the extreme low end, where all the vehicles so far are only $2 million. You do the minimum amount of customization and upgrades and everything like that. And once again, we don't know if this is all the content, but that's at the low end at $41 million. And then on the high end, I have this thing costing $75 million. So this is one of the trickiest updates to predict, because basically it's just one big heist mission. There's no business established with this update, and it's kind of tricky picking out, what sort of vehicles will be available and how many we haven't seen so far. So that's my prediction right there. $40 to $75 million you'll need to get everything from this update, which is a lot, but keep in mind there is going to be a lot of drip feeding going on. Every vehicle you saw in the trailer will likely not be available from day one. You'll probably be able to use it in the heist mission, then it might be locked until, further notice. Not really too sure, but that is how much I think you're going to need. $40 to $75 million for the Doomsday Heist DLC update. But anyways, that's all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. Let me know in the comment section down below how much you think this update is going to cost. Do you think I'm right and it's going to be around $40 to $70 million, give or take? Do you think it's going to be a lot lower? Do you think it's going to be a lot higher, over $100 million? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comment section down below. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.